So good morning. Good day once again. This time we're going to discuss about the research theory. No, so in this topic, there are certain, of course, somebody or asking, is research theory the same with the conceptual framework or theoretical framework? Now, uh, I hope that our presenter be able to describe with different thoughts about this topic, no, and this actually discussed the inquiry paradigm, no, and research assumptions, no, or our assumptions about classroom and our methods of data collection and analysis, no. And I think that we could able, of course, to understand the different, no, nature of reality, no, relationship and nowhere to know, no, the possibilities of generalization, research method in design, of course, and others, no. So as what I mentioned earlier, no, it is important, no, for us to understand the research theory, no, for us to be ready, no, on a general knowledge, no, that help even the researchers, no, of a given group about the social phenomenon, no. Well, on the other hand, if you're asking about theoretical framework, this will be it will provide actually an example or explanation to the problem from the existing works in a particular field of study. Yun naman yung kaibahan ng dalawa, no? Because theories such as interactionism, we have also phenomenology and critical theory can be used to help design a research question, no, guide the research of relevant data, interpret the data, and propose explanation of cause or influences. So to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter.
Thank you, sir, for the introduction. In this topic, research theory, I will discuss the relevance of theory in research, how it will improve the quality of study. After this discussion, you will be guided using theory as the basis of your research. So the content of my report covers the following: the definition and concept of theory, the importance of theory in research, how theory relates to inductive, deductive, and abductive research approaches, the role of theory in developing a theoretical and conceptual framework. So the word theory is used differently by researchers in different domains, and individuals may interpret theory differently according to the philosophical viewpoint they favor. So let's run through a few definitions of theory. A theory is a statement of concepts and their interrelationships that shows how or why a phenomenon occurs. It is an explanation of a phenomenon arrived at thorough examination and contemplation of relevant facts. Another author said that theory seeks to describe, explain, and predict reality in a sequential order. In the simplest term, theory may be regarded as a set of interrelated concepts or ideas that explain some aspects of the world. Research requires a sound theoretical basis and strong methodology. As such, the importance of theory in research cannot be underestimated. So there are three reasons why theory is important for research. First, it provides framework for analysis. Second, it provides an efficient method for field development. And last, it provides a clear explanation for the pragmatic world. Due to various definitions of what constitutes a theory, researchers use classification systems to describe types of theory in a context of purpose, functions, boundaries, and goals. So this definition of theory uses 8 constructs. It suggests that a theory should possess descriptive ability. It should also have explanatory power, bring about heuristic value, be testable, allows integration, have parsimony, able to show clarity, be comprehensive, and enable delimitation. These constructs are based on the fact that theory generates research and research generates and refines a theory. Another typology of theory is from Creswell and Criswell, 2018. They suggest a 3-level topology of theories. Researchers are often concerned with substantive theories which are specific to a particular population, problems, or research settings. But it is often difficult to make generalizations from substantive theory. The middle range, such as some of the general theories on human motivations, are more likely to frame empirical inquiry but are less likely to influence how individuals think about the world. At the top of the pyramid, grand theory provide an abstract and general theoretical perspective that can influence how individuals think about the world. However, grand theories are too abstract to be tested empirically. Hanggang sa building blocks po ba ang ano yun, sir?
Yeah. Yes.
So, saan ako nag-stop, sir?
Dito sa building blocks.
Okay, sir. Sorry po. According to David Witten, the building blocks for a complete theory are made up of 4 essential elements: the constructs, the propositions, logic, and boundary conditions or assumptions. The constructs captures the what of theories or the factors that should be considered as part of the phenomena of interest. The propositions capture the how, or it answers the question, how are these concepts related to each other? Logic represents the why, or the rationale behind the model that explains the reasons for others to give credence to the representation. And last, the boundary conditions or assumptions examines the who, when, and where, which are the conditions that place limitations on the propositions generated from the theoretical model. So what is the role of theory in developing theoretical and conceptual frameworks? Most business and management research aims to explain a particular behavior. Theories can be used to provide both predictions and explanations. For example, theories may be used to explain why some companies are successful while others are not, or why an individual decides to buy product X while another individual decides to buy product Y. Theories do this by specifying how different concepts or phenomena relate to one another and why these concepts or phenomena relate to each other in the way that they do. So let's elaborate predictions and explanation using theories. Predictions are often stated as propositions in qualitative studies and as a hypothesis in quantitative studies. A proposition is simply a statement that predicts a relationship between two or more concepts and constructs, whereas a hypothesis is a statement that predicts the relationship. Whereas hypothesis is a statement that predicts what the researcher expects to observe in the real world through empirical research. So when we say empirical research, it refers to the study of reality where only knowledge gained through observation is acceptable. A hypothesis is not itself a theory. It is simply a prediction. It is essential that every hypothesis is supported by theoretical arguments and logic, as well as previous empirical findings where they exist. Whereas proposition is qualitative research inquiry, essentially occurs in the field with actors and events happening in their natural settings. There are three different approaches in research: the inductive, deductive, and abductive approach. In inductive approach, when a researcher utilizes an inductive approach, they begin by collecting data that is relevant to their topic of interest. Once a substantial amount of data have been collected, the researcher will take a break from data collection to step back and get a bird's eye view of their data. At this stage, the researcher looks for patterns in the data, working to develop a theory that could explain those patterns. Thus, when a researchers take an inductive approach, they start with set of observations and then they move from those particular experiences to a more general set of propositions about those experiences. In other words, they move from data to theory or from specific to general. In deductive approach, researchers taking this approach will start with compelling social theory and then test its implication with data. In other words, they utilize the same steps as inductive research, but they will reverse the order, moving from general to more specific levels. Deductive research approach is mostly associated with scientific investigation. The researcher studies what others have done, reads existing theories of whatever phenomenon they are studying, and then tests hypotheses that emerge from those theories. So in this approach, it is more suitable in situation when theory or theoretical concepts or perspectives already exist to explain specific behaviors in a social world. In such situation, the researcher formulates hypotheses with which to test existing theory with the aim of modifying the existing theory in order to improve its predictive and explanatory powers. In abductive approach, it typically begins with the incomplete sets of observations and proceeds with the likeliest possible explanation for the set. Abductive approach yields the kind of daily decision making that does its best with the information at hand, which often is incomplete. So whenever possible, you should use existing theory in your research. However, it can be challenging to find and select relevant theories that may be useful in your research. You also need to appreciate that simply including a number of theories in your thesis is not the same as providing a strong theoretical foundation for research. Theory should be used to explain the relationship between different phenomena, and the research should have some degree of theoretical coherence, linking the various concepts together. General theories are often used to provide a foundation for research, which then inform the use of specific theory that may provide superior explanatory powers. Very often, students introduce new ideas or variables to an existing theory that somehow improves the theory. For example, an existing theory may be modified by incorporating ideas from a theory in another field, but there must be a logical rationale for doing this. By improving an existing theory, you can make an expected contribution to knowledge which should already be well thought through in your research proposal. So the output of your literature review is the conceptual or theoretical framework. It is typically presented in a diagram form based on existing theory that is found in the literature. A theoretical framework provides a general representation of relationships between concepts or ideas in the study. It serves as the structure and support for the rationale for the research, the problem statement, the purpose, the significance, and the research questions of the study. Theoretical framework specifies the theory that guides you in your research, which helps determine what you will measure and what relationships you will be investigating. Theoretical framework may be regarded as the researcher's lens with which to view the world. Your choice of framework should reflect important personal beliefs and understanding about the nature of knowledge and how it exists, which is also related to the methodological choice you make. Without a theoretical framework, the structure and vision of the study is unclear. A conceptual framework, on the other hand, indicates the concept of interest in a study and the assumed relationship between them. Concepts are the building blocks of theory and represents the points around which business and management research is conducted. Some examples of concepts are training, employee involvement, leadership styles, employee loyalty, and employee performance, and more. You are expected to present a conceptual framework in your proposal, and it provides a virtual display of how concepts or ideas in a study relate to one another with a theoretical framework. So while a theoretical framework is derived from a theory, a conceptual framework is derived from concepts. In explaining a particular phenomenon. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. Again, it suggests that there are 4 building blocks of theory as what our presenter mentioned. No? The constructs, the proposition, the logic, and boundary conditions assumptions. So contracts capture the what, no? What of theories, no? What concepts are important for explaining a phenomenon. Propositions capture the how. How are these concepts related to each other? Logic represent the why, no? Why are these concepts related? And boundary condition or assumption examine the who, when, and where. So under the circumstances will these concepts and relationship work. Tough constructs and propositions were previously, of course, discussed with our presenter. must again sake of course of some completeness, no. Construct or abstract concept is specified at the high level of abstraction that are chosen specifically to explain the phenomenon of interest, no. For the proposition, this will be the association postulated, no, between construct based on the deductive logic, no, and others. So all theories are constrained by assumptions about values, times, and space, no, and boundary condition that govern where the theory can be applied and where it cannot be applied. Let's say, for example, the economic theories assume that human beings are rational, no, or boundedly rational, and employ utility maximization based on cost and benefits expectation as a way of understand human behavior. So in contrast, political science theories assume that people are more political than rational and try to position themselves in their professional and personal environment in a way that maximizes their power and control over others. So given the nature of their underlying assumptions, economic and political theories are not directly comparable. And researchers should not use economic theories if their objective is to understand the power structure of its evolution in an organization. Likewise, theories may have implicit cultural assumptions, whether they apply to individualistic or collectivist cultures, no? Temporal assumptions, whether they apply to early stages of later stages of human behavior, and spatial assumptions, no, whether they apply to certain localities, no, but not to others. If a theory is to be properly used or tested, all of its implicit assumptions that form the boundaries of the theory must be properly understood. Unfortunately, theorists, no, rarely state their implicit assumptions clearly, which leads to frequent misapplications of theories to problem situation in research. So I think that's it. Thank you, presenter.